Hello everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the channel to learn about Visual Basic. Visual Basic is a programming language that will help you to create Windows-based applications. When we talk about Windows-based applications, we are talking about any software that you can create which can be controlled by objects like buttons, labels, menu strips, and icons that you can click and the program can respond. Now, Visual Studio is a software that will help you to use the language Visual Basic. So I've installed it on my computer. I'm just going to show you how it looks like when it has been installed. This is the software that will help you to create any application. So it's called Microsoft Visual Studio. There are latest versions. I'm going to use the 2008 version as we are going to start. So when it has been installed on your computer, you will see that once you open it, this is the layout that you will find. On this layout, it is actually where you can decide to start a new project or open an existing one. So this journey that I'm taking with you is where I'm going to show you how to start a new application altogether. Obviously, you will have to learn the coding and you will have to learn on how to create the user interface. A user interface is where you are going to structure how your buttons, your labels, your text box, and the design of your screen. So when we look here on the left hand side, there is a section where you have to open or create a project. So I'm going to create a project with you. Please bear in mind this is your first lesson, so you are only going to learn on how to create a user interface. Then lesson 2, that is when we will do coding. So when we start, we create a project. So I'm going to click here where it says create project. So the screen that loads after that is a screen where you have to choose what type of a project you want to create. So we are going to create a Windows project. It's an application that will run on a Windows. Remember, a computer can run on different softwares depending on the manufacturer. So we are creating an application for now that will be able to run on Windows 10, Windows 8, Windows 7. So that's why we say it's a Windows app. So I'm going to click there where it says Visual Basic Windows, the Windows part. I click. Then that is when you will be able to see what I'm seeing now here on this part. So I'm going to create a Windows application. Then I click the first icon. Then after clicking there, I can give my application a name down there. So I can just remove what has been typed for me and say calculator. So I want us to create something simple, an app that can calculate. So let's call it a calculator, or let's call it a calculator app, so that you can be able to identify its name later on. So this calculator app is a Windows app, you see there. Then I can click the button OK. So while it's loading, you can see that now the screen changes so that we can receive a blank interface that we can use to customize and make it look like the way we are planning to create our project. So you can even go to the handles of this part where it's a form and enlarge it to be the desirable size that you want it to be. So there on top it says form 1. That's where we can start. But now we don't want it to say form 1. We want to give it a name of the app that we are creating. Remember, it's a calculator app. So let's find out how do we change this name of a form, not to be form 1, but to be changed to be the name of the project or the name of the interface that we want them to understand. So if this interface is going to have a certain function, you can just name it. So this has nothing to do with the coding. Remember, I said this first lesson you are going to learn on how to start to create a project and the user interface. So when we are going to change where it says form 1, then we are talking about the text that appears on this form. The text that appears on this form. So if you go and click the form itself so that it becomes the active form, you will see on the right hand side you have where it says form 1 system windows, and you have all the information that you can use to customize that form. So where it says text, it says form 1. I click there, then I just backspace and type calculator app. Calculator app. Now after doing that, calculator, just make sure that the spelling is correct, because type will be appearing as the name of the form, calculator app. So when I press enter, you will see that there on top of my form it has changed to be calculator app, not form 1 anymore. So we are going to add more things on this form, to add buttons and text boxes where the user will be inputting information or text and having buttons to click to execute or to make the form or interface usable. So they can click buttons, put numbers, it will calculate for them. So obviously we will need an input object, which is going to be our text box. So you go to the toolbox here on the left, then you will see it will pop up to show you all the other tools that you can add. So we are looking for a text box. There on the list, I can click and hold and drag and drop on top of my form. Then you can even hold it and adjust it like I'm doing to put it where you want it to be. So I can go and take another text box and put it there and also align it to be the way I want it. You can adjust the text box by the handles as well, so that it looks neat the way you want it. You can drag multiple objects all at the same time. By highlighting them and holding one, they will both move to where you want them to be. So I'm going to add a label so that I can actually it will indicate what is the purpose of this text box. Okay, label 1, obviously it will be indicating what goes in here. Then I'm going to add another label that will be label 2, which will be indicating what goes in the second text box. So we go to the first label, click there and go to text on the right hand side to give it a description. So let's say it's an instruction that says enter the first number, and then we go to the second one. I click and then I go and give it a name and I say, or instruction, enter the second number. So you can see that when I type, they overlap on top of my text box. Remember I said you can move your text boxes to be where you want them to be. Okay, let me go back a little bit. I double clicked by mistake. So now these two text boxes, they must move a little bit to the right, because now the labels are overlapping on top of my text boxes. So I can highlight them at once and move them simultaneously to align them quickly so that they don't actually obstruct the view of my text boxes. And then if I'm going to move everything up, I can highlight everything all at once and move them to be where I want them to be, like that. You can even reduce the size of your form by the handles like I've shown you, and adjust even horizontally the way you want them to be. So I'm going to add a button there, click, drag, and then there it says button 1. Button 1, we can also give it a name, and we can say addition. We can name it add. Okay, it's a text of the button. Then I can have another button, and this second button I can call it subtract. Then I can add more buttons. Let's say the third one will be divide, so that we can use it for division. So I can say divide, and then let's add another one that says multiply. Okay, go to the text on the right hand side and name it multiply. Remember, these are not names of buttons. These are just the text that will be on top of of the objects. These are not the names of the buttons, but these are just these are like text, just so that the user will understand that when they click that button, it means they are adding the two numbers. When they subtract, they will have to click that button. When they divide those two numbers, they will have to click the divide button. When they multiply them, just like that. So let's add another button that says clear, so that when we want to clear everything in the two check boxes, we can actually use this button to clear, and everything will be deleted in those text boxes. So I'm going to name this button clear. I'm going to name it clear all. So I just did it, clear all. Now we need a portion or a label where all our answers will be displayed. I'm going to add another toolbox label and put it there on the right hand side. This is where all my answers will be. Now, because an answer will need to come out of this label, we can change this label to be a label with a border around it and remove the text that says label 3. So what I have to do now, I will just have to go to click this label and look for an option on the right hand side that says auto size, so that we can adjust the size of the label. Auto size says true. When we change here and say false, you will see that the labels will have handles around it. So I can automatically adjust it now because the auto size of the label has been set to false. Then I'm going to remove the text inside, but let me apply a border style here. It says none. Then let's make it fixed single, a single line around it, and then we go to the text of that same label and make the text to remove the text so that it doesn't have anything written inside. Okay, text label 3, then I remove. Then now my label is ready to display answers. So practically what will happen here is that we'll have to put a code that will have to check the two numbers as indicated that the user would have inserted. Then the code under the button add will be adding the two numbers together and at the same time display the answer in label 3. Then if we are subtracting the same thing, the two numbers will be subtracted, the answer will display in label 3. The two numbers will be divided, the answer will display in label 3. Multiplied, the two numbers will be multiplied, the answer will still display in the same label. So when we have everything displaying there, we can click the button clear all. Then everything is cleared, then we can use it for other two new numbers again. So this is how you can create an interface. So the other thing, which is the last thing for this first lesson, you can even have the main heading to explain everything on your interface. So I'm going to highlight all my objects at once and drag them a little bit down and create a label on top just to have an indication as to what is happening, like then a tag or a heading for my interface. So remember, we go on the right hand side while the label is still selected. On the right hand side under text, you just go there and type what is this all about. Okay, so we can say calculation of two numbers. The font size bigger, put an underlining and make it nice, but only under the properties like where we are working. So I can click this heading, go to the right hand side to find where it says font. When I click there and click the small icon there, I will find different fonts, and then I can choose even the font style like bold or regular and so on. So if I'm going to take Algerian and make it bold and maybe change the font to B22, clicking OK, you will see that my label becomes bigger. I can adjust it and make it look nicer, just like that. So thank you for watching the first lesson. I hope you are going to tune in for lesson 2, where you are going to see how we are going to code and put all the code behind this interface so that all these buttons can execute and display the answer in the label. Thank you very much. Please remember to subscribe, click the notification so that you'll be notified on the next lesson.